Thank you, Alberto. I have a question about introducing members of the board, because to me, it felt like it took up a lot of time and it was sort of just like wah, 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 wah. And I mean, I kind of wonder if you don't just say, we have 3 board members with us tonight, they are X, Y, and Z, because I kind of felt like it was eating into their time.
Okay,
And
we can do that.
Yeah, it just felt like kind of rote.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. That'll make it faster.
Yeah, you could do that for staff too if you want.
Okay, yeah. Crystal said, so you can just, if you have questions, Crystal, just put them in the chat if your mic's not working. I saw
There
that.
you go.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and let Lorena in.
Hi.
Oh.
Hey, sir.
Hey, Lorena, can you hear us?
Oh. Hi, yes, I can.
Oh, great. Now we can see you. So we're going to, so first of all, thank you for coming. We're going to give you your 15 minutes to share your story. I'm going to quickly just go over who's here to be fast and make sure you have your time, and then we'll turn it over to you. So we have 3 board members, Crystal, Katie, and Robert here. And then our staff, myself, Amy, and my director, Christina Pacheco is here. And we just want to hear from you about your program, what you're doing. We may have questions along the way, and we'll ask them, but we just want to turn it over to you for your 15 minutes.
Sounds great. Hi, everybody. Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you board members for serving as board members on this committee. As you all know, it's an incredibly important committee for the city of Longmont. And so thank you for the service you provide. So my name is Lorena Garcia. I'm the executive director of Colorado Statewide Parent Coalition. And the project that we are seeking funding for is our PASO program, Providers Advancing Student Outcomes. And we have been doing PASO since 2006, and it continues to be a great need in all of our communities, and it's going to continue growing. The need is going to grow. And PASO specifically targets informal childcare providers to train them to be high quality providers for particularly immigrant and refugee children. The reason why the program is so needed is because, as most of you know, there is not enough licensed childcare spots to care for all of the children, and there's less than a third of available spots for infants and toddlers. So all these children are actually cared for by friends, family, and neighbor care. And these providers also need training. They do incredible work in providing love and safety and making sure that they eat. They also need support in helping them support those children and becoming academically prepared to enter kindergarten. And so that's what PASO does. Right now, as you have seen, we have a 1.5-year long CCAP freeze in Longmont and Boulder County. And what the CCAP freeze does is it means that low-income families don't have the financial support they need to send their kids to a licensed childcare center. And we also see that at the federal level, we are about to experience a government shutdown. We don't know how long that government shutdown is going to last, which means that the CCAP, the funding that the federal government sends for childcare down to the states is also going to be frozen. We also saw that they made dramatic changes to Head Start, which means less families are going to qualify for Head Start. Where are all these kids going to go? They're going to go to the reliable source of FFN. So FFN will only continue to grow in providing the vital services of taking care of our kids and preparing them for school. And so the service that CSPC provides in these communities is going to be even needed at a greater scale than it already is. And so with that, I will turn it to all of you to ask any questions that you might have. And I think I'm done with my little spiel.
So I just have and I'm just doing this so the board can hear this, because you and I already emailed and we're good. But because the board may have not seen this or read this in the application, your application has a number of 131 but after we confirmed that you're only applying for the PASO, which I think is 58,350, right? Just want to get that. That's more of a clarity thing, just so the board knows.
Yeah, we know that counties are experiencing a lot of hardship right now. And so as a partner to the city of Longmont, we were taking a look at our projects. We first were told that we probably wouldn't get funded again for our Grupo de Apoyo program. We went after and are seeking other funding sources to continue that work here. So that's why that's not included. And then also with Éxito, the full transparent truth is that Éxito has been becoming even harder and harder and harder to recruit for. And so because of that, we decided that we would probably take a break of Éxito and Longmont and just focus on Paso, and then we'll come back next year and hopefully people will say, oh, I missed this program. Where is it? And then more people will want to enroll. So that's why we're only doing Paso right now.
Okay, thank you. I mean, yeah, you and I emailed about it, but
Mhm.
I just wanted the board to have that clarity. So I have questions, but I want to make sure I see if the board has any questions. And Crystal's mic isn't working, so if she has questions, she's gonna have to put them in the chat. So I will read her questions if she has any. I'm not sure if Robert has a question or not.
Okay, go ahead.
I have two questions. First is, have the federal cuts affected you in terms of your budget?
So that's a great question. And no, and that's because CSPC has never really relied on federal dollars. We did accept ARPA dollars, but we didn't count on ARPA dollars for program expansion necessarily. That would require us to do program retraction or layoffs. So the dollars that we did have, we were able to serve more people, but it's not at an expense of people's jobs. So we're not impacted by ARPA expiring, and we're also not impacted by any of the federal cuts because we just don't go after federal dollars.
The second question is that it would seem to me the majority of the parents involved are from the Front Range primarily. And I wonder how you serve the West Slope, for example. Do you send people over there? Do you have some sort of office or something like that?
So we are a remote office. So we have staff all across the state. Our work that we do in Western Slope, actually, because we either do in-person PASO or virtual PASO, both of them have the same evaluation outcomes, which is really interesting that we're still figuring out how that is. We would expect to have lower evaluative outcomes for virtual, but that's not the case. Anyway, so folks that are either in the Western Slope or in the Eastern Plains are able to take PASO through our virtual program. Our Longmont program, however, is in person. So we always have it in person where the folks from Longmont can go and be in community with each other.
Thank you. So Crystal put a question, and actually it's a little bit like mine, so I'm gonna try and combine both of our questions. So Crystal asked, how many parents have you been able to train and help get established with their own child care center in Longmont since CCAP closed, and how many children were reserved as a result? So my question is similar along the line, because we talked about this before. You know, one of the great things about PASO is by the end of PASO, the goal of the dream or is that folks get that what's it called, child care development or
Associate, the CDA.
The CDA. So in Crystal's vein of her questions, how many folks have you been able to train, and they've been able to increase their FFN numbers, and of those, how many have been able to get their CDA, and do you know roughly how many kids you've served or have been served by the folks that you trained?
So we is this like in the timeline, like in the lifetime of CSPC, or is this like in the last year? In Longmont. So
Yeah.
I'll have to get back on the specific question numbers for Longmont, but what I will say, so a year and a half ago, we've trained about 40 FFN providers, specifically in the Longmont area. That translates to roughly 160 kids that can be served by these providers at any single time. Because state regulation only allows FFN providers to care for up to 4 children at a time. But we also know that FFN providers will care for a group of kids in the morning before school. They'll care for a different set of kids after school. They'll probably do some like toddler care at night. And so we do know that the minimum amount of kids that are benefiting from the providers that we've trained is 160. And what I will say is we haven't actually supported any intentionally supported any providers in getting their licensed center set up. But what we do know is that there are providers that have actually set up their licensed childcare centers. I will have to check and see how many of those are in Longmont versus in other areas. We
Yeah, if you don't
don't.
mind. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you can just email me and I can share that with this group.
Okay. To your other question, Crystal, about our collaboration with the chamber, we don't actually have a strong collaboration with this program with the chamber. When we were doing policy work on making sure that FFN providers or people who are undocumented could access professional licensing and childcare licensing, we worked really closely with the chamber. We worked really closely with both Boulder County Chamber and the Latino Chamber. But with this particular program, we don't work with chambers on it.
All right. Any other questions for Lorena? All right. If not, thank you so much. And yeah, if you can follow up with some of the numbers, that'd be great. I will send them to the group that's evaluating the application. But I appreciate your time and all the work that you all do. Have a great
Thank
rest
you
of
all
your
so
night.
much. Thanks, you too. Bye.
All right. Well, great. We're actually ahead of time, and our next group is already in the waiting room. Crystal, you have hold on. Well, oh.
Hi, can you hear us okay?
Yeah. Sorry, Crystal is changing computers. She just let us.
Oh, yeah, no
While she
worries.
does that, I'll go ahead and do the quick introductions, and then while she does that, we want to make sure. I mean, we're doing great on time. We're a couple of minutes early, which is great. So thank you, Perla and Lupita, for being here. With us tonight are several board members. Crystal Pietros, our board chair, and then Katie and Torres and Robert is here as well. Staff is me, Amy, and our director, Christina Pacheco. So we really want to give you your 15 minutes to share your story. We will go ahead and along the way, if there's questions, we'll stop you, but we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you and hear from you about the programming Longmont, what you're doing, what you're asking for. And yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so very much for the opportunity to present our proposal and to share a little bit about who I Have a Dream is. Not sure if you're familiar with us or how familiar you are with us, but we've been around for almost 35 years now, working in collaboration with the community. Our lane or our expertise is the after-school space. And so we provide after-school programming for a cohort of, in particular, for our St. Vrain class for 45 plus students. And so I say the plus because we do support what we call dreamer guests, who participate in our programming and receive the strategies and interventions that our program team has to offer. And so Our goal is to launch a new class next year in the St. Vrain Valley, and we're super excited because what we've seen these past couple of years is a return in our investment, and our investment is literacy and academic and social and emotional learning embedded with social justice and restorative justice. Most recently, we launched, I shouldn't say most recently, let me correct myself, about 3 years ago, we launched a 2-generational model, and that's what this particular funding proposal is focused on. And so our 2-gen model has 2 tracks. It's our Dreamer programming and our Advancing Families program. And so our 2-gen model focuses on working with the entire family, so incorporating our work with parents and helping them achieve either their academic goals and or their professional goals. And through our 2-gen model, again, we partner with students and their families in ensuring that they have the support systems to experience academic mobility. So I'm going to pause for a quick moment because I want Lupita to talk about what our Longmont class specifically does kind of on a day-to-day, so you get a breadth of who we are and what we do in partnership with Dreamers and their parents.
Awesome. Thank you, Perla. It's so good to see some familiar faces on here. I am a Longmont native myself, and I grew up in the same area as the Dreamers. Currently, there's 45, like Perla said, at Timberline, which is the shirt I'm wearing today, actually. And so, like Perla said, our approach really is holistic. We realize that, you know, the success of the Dreamers and their families comes from all the angles, right? And we're part of that village that allows them to help with the bridging between home and education. And so with this particular class, in second and third grade, sorry, first and second grade, we really focused on the foundations of literacy and math. And so we worked with both St. Vrain and Boulder Valley professionals around math curriculum. And we were able to create an in-house curriculum that targets all of the state requirements around math skills and whatnot. This allowed us to track their progress. And so in the first grade level, we saw a tremendous increase in their literacy skills, in both math skills as well. And so it has been just really awesome to hear teachers at Timberline saying, hey, we noticed that during our iReady scores, the Dreamers specifically showed more progress than the non-Dreamers. And to me, that's a great, that's a success. Some comments I hear from the Dreamer scholars is, Ms. Lupita, I already did this morning. I'm like, it's awesome. Because like Perla said, we're experts in the after school program. Some of our staff are certified teachers, but not all of them. That includes myself, which means that we don't replicate school. We are a support system, and we allow them to do extra practice in the after school setting. And so with that comes collaboration with the teachers, with the school admin, with the MTSS teams, you know, all of the people in the school. And so like Perla and I said, we create that bridge between home and education, but really empowering the parents to feel comfortable, like this is your building, this is your classroom. You can come in and talk to the teachers. You can bring up concerns whenever you have any. And they use us to create that bond between the teachers. And likewise with the teachers, sometimes they have some difficulties reaching out to certain parents. I get it. I'm a parent myself. We have so many things that we are juggling, and parents sometimes forget to read one of the teachers' emails. So we are able to also help the teachers bridge that partnership. But first and second grade, we, like I said, we really like to focus on the foundations for literacy and math. In third grade, which is this year, we are doing a small switch to the SEL. We are noticing a lot of these topics just coming up, which is whether it's bullying, small goal setting, friendships, you know, what is a trusted adult? We are seeing these themes coming up as we navigate the school system. And so we've made a small shift where every Monday they do an SEL lesson. Tuesday is math. Wednesday is literacy, and then Thursday they alternate between math and literacy. They just started a book club around social justice, and they've incorporated, I believe, 6 different books, some in English and some in Spanish. So we also encourage students to practice their whatever language it is, the second language that they have at home. And so we've been able to use our volunteers. I think we have a total of about 10 active volunteers, which we call learning partners. And we have them come in, help us lead a book club, and then followed by some questions and answers, which is really fun. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up. Fridays are some of the funnest days. They go on different field trips every Friday, whether it's Bounce Empire, the museum. They're going to go to CU Boulder in a couple of weeks, just really to see what's out there in our community, because some of our families do lack some of the funds, but some of them do have multiple jobs. And so we are able to have that experiential piece for the Dreamer Scholars.
And I want to add that, again, our 2-gen model is really focused on collaborating and partnering with the entire family. And so our work with the adults, parents, guardians, and caregivers of the Dreamer Scholars is to extend our model to our adult learners. And so we really hone in on what academic goals do they have? What professional goals do they have? We offer workshops actually on SEL. We do a lot of work around mental and physical health. We also have students, adult learners who are enrolled in ESL, GED programs. We have post-secondary students as well as students who are interested in the trades and the community college programs. And so our goal is really to move the needle forward faster in fracturing, if not eliminating, the cycle of poverty for many of our families. Upon entering our program, 100% of our families experience income inequality, so that we know that there is a financial barrier in participation, in extracurricular activities, in tutoring and academic support. And so we are able to complement that in the after-school space. Again, our partnership is really valuable with the parents, especially in the St. Vrain Valley, in particular, our Mountain View group. They created a parent advisory council a couple years ago, and I'm really excited to share that they have taken ownership of a lot of what they want to see different and or better in our organization. Excuse me. In particular, we have the Parent Council in Mountain View that is leading one of our fundraising efforts. We have a fleet of buses that we are able to utilize and basically bus our students to different activities and different programming. And our Mountain View parents decided that they wanted to have a little bit more advanced and newer vehicles. And so they started a fundraising campaign earlier this summer, and they've asked the parents to contribute financially to this campaign. The goal is $25,000. And while they're not halfway there yet, our goal is to continue partnering with them and getting them to a goal where hopefully we're cycling our old buses every year and replacing them with either newer or new buses in our fleet system. And so again, that partnership for us is really important because they get to be part of our mission. They get to own it. They get to advocate. And at the same time, we get to work with them in achieving their goals. I'm looking at the clock, so I just want to make sure that I leave, Lupita and I leave time for questions. Do I still have a few more minutes, Eliberto?
Yeah, I think I see Crystal typing in the chat. Again, her mic's not working. But in the meantime, anybody else have, or do you have any questions, Katie? Oh, Crystal wrote her question. She says, you serve around 45 every year. How do you choose schools? When is it available every day? And does it work as after school care?
Great questions, Crystal. So a couple things. Our cohorts are 45. Again, we also serve Dreamer Scholars. So Mountain View has about 55 students plus their families. So they're guests and they're Dreamer Scholars. Our timeline in the St. Vrain Valley and in particular Longmont is to launch a new cohort on a 2-year cycle. And so we're hitting that cycle for the upcoming fall. We had to wait a little bit longer in this particular cycle, given the change in leadership in the school district and the change in curriculum and after school support. And we typically will launch a class when the students are in first grade. So they are a single grade level cohort, we don't tend to mix the students, because what we've seen historically is that when they're at different developmental stages and phases of their life, it's a little bit difficult to create a curriculum that meets the students where they're at and really supports their academic growth. We offer programming for the most part 365 days a year, with the exception of some of the vacations that we mirror with the school system, and transitions in between fall to winter and winter to summer. And it is 5 days a week, and it's typically in the after school space. We are not considered after school care. We're not childcare providers. We don't have that expertise. What we do is provide the academic support and social and emotional support embedded with restorative justice and social justice. So our students are very active in their learning. We partner with them to ensure that we're measuring that progress and meeting them where they're at. So it's not an after school kind of care system where they get to kind of just hop in and out whenever they feel is appropriate. Families do make a commitment to our program. And so we do ask them to complete enrollment packets every year to ensure that they're committed to having attendance. Our attendance goal is 85% or higher for each of our students. And so it's really important that they understand that we're not a child care program, and that there are goals that are established in collaboration with the student, the school, and the parent community to ensure, again, that we're meeting those goals and measuring the progress along the way. I hope that answered your questions. And
Okay.
And the timing is right after school. So our Mountain View class has students from all of the neighboring schools, and as well as the private schools within the district. So we do have some students who attend some of the private institutions. And so it will start, time fluctuates just a little bit between 3:30 to 3:45 as the students are arriving after their particular end of school. So it's, again, 5 days a week, 3:30 to about 6 o'clock, depending on what the needs are and what's happening in the site.
Awesome. Thank you, Bella. Any more questions for I Have a Dream?
You answered some of my questions, but I just think we're given inflation and the cost sometimes of fulfilling a dream, like sending someone to Disneyland and traveling and all that. Are you increasing your number of clients by reducing the cost of fulfilling a dream? Or how does that, what I'm basically saying, can you serve just as many people with inflation as you have been?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say yes. Part of what the component of our model is, though, and this is where the caveat is that we provide each of the scholars a $10,000 scholarship upon completing their high school diploma or GED. And so that's where there's programmatic costs, and then there's the fundraising for our scholarship that tends to kind of limit the number of students that we can partner with. There is a significant need, as we all know, throughout our county and our district in St. Vrain, but because we commit, I should say, the scholarship to each of our students, that's where the limitation and the cohorts are needed to ensure we're able to fulfill that commitment.
All right. Any other questions for I Have a Dream? Bella, Lupita, thank you so much for all the work that you do. You're appreciated. Thank you for being here tonight, and we hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, you too. Good luck with the rest of your interviews. We appreciate, again, this time to share who we are, what we do, and the partnership we create with dreamers and their families. So have a good evening. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next group is here. And I am letting them in.
Hello.
Hey, Barbara. Hey, Crystal.
Hello. How are you, Alberto?
Good, good.
Good.
Well,
Nice
thank
to
you for
see you.
yeah, thank you for joining us. I will introduce us quick we can get to your story. and then we'll stop you if we have questions. On tonight, we have Crystal Fifth, our board chair, Robert and Katie, board members, and staff. We have me, Amy, and of course our director, Christina Pacheco, as well. So we're just going to turn it over to you two to tell us about Open Door, what you're doing in Longmont, what you're applying for, and then if we have questions, we'll stop you along the way.
So thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. As mentioned, I'm the director of Cabaret Open Door, and we provide academic English classes for second language learners. And we also do HiSET, which is high school equivalency classes for students working on their diploma. And our HiSET classes, we have two parts. We have the Spanish classes, and then we have the English classes. And then we also provide a testing center for students. And our testing center allows students to take their HiSET test via paper. And those students who want to do it by computer, we refer to Front Range campus. We currently have a staff of 15 instructors and 5 support staff. We're finishing up our 10th year. Right now we have 40 students enrolled. We have a late start class coming next week, so that we anticipate that number to go up. The 40 students actually enroll, and we have an enrollment of 80, which means a lot of them are taking 2 classes. But so yeah, our enrollment is actually decreased a little bit from what it was last year this time.
Thank you, Barbara. Any questions from the board?
Rob has a question.
Okay, Rob.
I'm a first generation American, spoke German until I went to first grade. And I really could have used you guys a lot. But is it mostly Spanish now and not something like Korean or
I would say
Japanese or whatever?
yeah, at least 80% of our students are Spanish speaking from various Spanish speaking countries, but we do have other languages. Right now, we have, just in this session, we have students from Thailand, China, Philippines, and we have one student, I can't remember what country he's from, but we do have other countries represented. We have a map in our hallway, and when students come in, we have them put a sticky note on where their country homeland is. And it's full all over in Europe and just little bitty islands throughout the world that it is amazing. They come from all over. But then in South America, we have a whole lot more sticky notes there than we do in the rest of the world.
Crystal, is your mic working? All right, awesome. Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. You state that you have currently 40 students. Are all those students from Longmont, or are they from around Boulder County?
Oh, good question. They're actually from all over. And all over, we have Weld County, Boulder County, and the student that's taking our class right now who comes the furthest is Fort Lupton.
Wow.
And she could not find academic English classes out there. She's taken 3 classes, and she works during the day and taking 3 classes at night. So I'm trying to help her find programs, but there's nothing out there that really is what she needs. She wants to go to college, and there's nothing that's helping prepare her for that. And that's what we do.
But most of them are from Longmont or right surrounding area of Longmont.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Another question I have is, what is your completion rate in both programs? Do you have a pretty high success rate in each program?
Yes, we do. And in fact, we actually pay very close attention to the pass rate from that HiSET gives us. And when we see that one of the areas is pretty low with the pass rate, the teachers get together and we try to figure out what we can do to help them increase your scores. And I actually had a meeting today about a program that we want to integrate into our program, which allows them to have something on their phones, an app on their phone to continually practice the skills. And the ESL students, the way we measure their rate of improvement is they share with us whether they have the two goals that we have with our ESL program is job enhancement and going to college. So when the students first come into our program, we meet with them and counsel with them and find out, what are your goals? Why are you here? And then at the end of each session, we find out, where are you at with your goals? And when they share with us about the better job that they're getting, or they've enrolled in college, it's very, very rewarding. And we're getting a lot more reports of students wanting to go to college. So we're having a workshop here in October to share with them about scholarship opportunities and how to go about getting into their program. And the other thing we do is, there's a lot of fields out there that our students aren't even aware of. So we have a brochure from Front Range, and we share with them what kind of certificate programs are available. And from Workforce, our partnership with Workforce shares with them what areas are in high demand right now. And so they will hear about these areas of demand, and they're like, wow, I never thought about that. That sounds interesting. And I will share an example of that. One of our students was at that meeting previously, and she found out about the field it's called sterilization. And I'll tell you, I never heard of it. And it's where they actually are in the operating room and they sterilize the equipment. And that is a certificate program and in high demand right now. And so she got into that field. So that's pretty much how it works.
Perfect. I have one more question if there's time, Eliberto.
Yeah, we have time.
How does your program stand apart from other programs similar? And how are you collaborating with other organizations to make sure that you're not duplicating services and really making sure that our residents are getting the most of each program that they can here in Longmont?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do that with a lot of community programs. First of all, the ESL program, we are academic. And when students come into our program, they are given a reading and oral assessment. And when they're not ready for our program, we refer them to a basic skills program in the community. And there's really only three right now in the community. But, and then in their programs, when a student is ready for more academic, they refer them to us. And the other thing is that we offer GED I'm going to give you an example, Intercambio. They offer citizenship, we offer GED. So we work with each other. I send students over there for the citizenship. They send students to us for GED and academic. That's the main thing. The other way that we work with some of our community partners like Workforce, they offer a GED program, but it's on the computer. It's self-taught. It's like a lab, but it's not in Spanish. And a lot of students can't do that self-taught. So when they see someone is struggling with it, they send them to us. And the good thing about another thing is they only take 20 students. They stopped taking a waiting list because their waiting list got so long. Now what they do is they just refer them to us. So it's important that the community partners really work together so we know where to send students for various things. We work with Front Range, and when students are better off taking a computer test, we send them to Front Range. And the director of the testing center there and I were always talking to each other, updating each other on what is the latest going on with your program. That's a big part of my job. And it really takes a lot of time.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions for Barbara and Crystal? All right, if not, thank you so much for the work that you do. We appreciate it. And have a great rest of your night.
Thank
Okay,
you. Great
Thank you,
questions.
everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
So folks, we are doing great on time. That if anybody wants to take a bio break, we got 5 minutes. That's how good we're doing on time. I might actually go take a quick bio break and be back in 5 minutes.
Not yet, Alexis, I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Remind me for this priority, it's education and childcare condensed in the same bucket.
It's education and skill building, so we consider the
Okay.
childcare part as part of the education.
Okay. So, but they come from the same bucket.
Yes.
So that's the same priority. So they own, so the childcare and skill building pull
They're all
from the
together.
same percentage.
Right, exactly.
Okay, thank you. Now you can go.
All right, I'll be right back.
You want some water or?
Amy, you can grab me some water.
I am back. But we still got a couple of minutes.
Robert is teaching me German, Eliberto.
That's good. No, it's always good to learn that
I
language.
speak Polish too.
Well, let's start slow, Rob. All right. Oh, we're gonna start with German first. Once I get through Germany, then I'll think about Poland.
Yeah, I learned
Biggest cup I've ever seen,
French.
Crystal. It's like a big old mug.
In my travels, I've learned French, German, Spanish,
Wow.
Italian, Greek.
Oh, wow. Well,
I
When I go
haven't
to
learned
Korea-
Portuguese though. And Polish and a little bit of Russian.
oh,
And then I speak Quechua, which is the language in Peru of the Incas.
I've always wanted to go to Russia. I need them to let me in.
Russian's tough.
Yeah,
It's got a lot of sounds that we don't have in English or German.
and a different alphabet too.
Yeah.
All right. As soon as Katie gets back, we'll let Casey in. We're doing great on time tonight. So that's awesome. It's always nice to be moving forward. All right, Katie's back. So I'm going to go ahead and we're still a couple of minutes ahead, but I'm going to go ahead and let Casey in since she's here. All right. Hi, Casey. Can you hear us?
I can. Hello, everyone. I've got a little one here. I apologize. It is just that time of night. We have a sick one in the next room. And so, anyways, thank you for. I hope this is okay, actually. Is this okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's totally fine.
Okay.
So, Casey, I believe you have 2 programs tonight. Is that right?
That's right.
And so we gave you 30 minutes. We may not take all that 30 minutes. Is that right? Am I looking at the agenda right? I'm looking at Amy to confirm. Do we have her for two programs or just one? 2? Okay. All right. So that's we probably won't spend the 30 minutes, but we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to introduce the board and staff that are here tonight. We have Crystal Prieto, who's our board chair, Katie Torres, and Robert, who are board members. And then for staff, we got Amy, myself, and our director, Christina Pacheco, listening in. So we're going to turn it over to you and ask you to tell us about the programs that you're applying for. You can start whichever one you want, and tell us what you're asking for, and a little bit about ECCBC.
You got it. Thanks so much. Well, thanks for the opportunity. I certainly recognize for all of you that are doing this, this is a lot of work on your end, especially in the evening hours. So thank you. And again, thanks for your flexibility. I get to serve as the director for the Early Childhood Council here in Boulder County. Our organization exists to support the infrastructure of early childhood care and education in our community. What that means and how that shows up is we support families in navigating childcare. So trying to find childcare and then find the resources that they might need to potentially afford it, or to maybe they need resources for children that have some cognitive needs or developmental needs. So we'll help them navigate that. We serve as the local coordinating organization for Universal Preschool. We also help to support childcare providers. So childcare providers in our community, we have over 250 licensed childcare providers in Boulder County. We also know that the majority of care for kids under the age of 3 years old is cared for by FFNs, family, friend, and neighbor providers. And we exist to support those childcare providers as well. What do I mean when I say support? I mean that we help professional development. We help navigating licensing requirements with the state. We help from a compliance standpoint with the state. We also help just convene support groups, as well as, again, professional development groups, so that these childcare providers who are oftentimes isolated in the work that they do can have chances, time, and opportunities to come together and connect. And then we work on the system as a whole. What I mean by that is that we are actively, in pursuit of trying to improve the childcare system for all. That includes families like myself trying to find childcare and afford it. That includes childcare providers so that they can have thriving wages in our community. They are shaping our future generation, yet they make some of the lowest wages in human services providers across the spectrum. And so that's a little bit of an overview about the Early Childhood Council. Maybe, Alberto, is it okay? Should I pause there and see if we have any questions on that first, and then I can pivot to our programs?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about overall organization, we can ask them. If not, we can move on to the programs.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the programs. Start whichever one you want.
Oh, Crystal, sorry, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Sorry. I'm trying to eat dinner too. So you said that you help with licensing and support in that way as well, to really help support these, I think you call them FFNs or something. I forgot the acronym. So do you help train them as well, or do you resource out to other organizations to do that training?
We do the training, and we help childcare providers who want to become licensed through the state go through the steps that that the state requires. So that's everything from environmental scans to professional development that they have to have on, that they have to have a part of their application, to compliance, things that they have to have a part of it. So we will help a childcare provider who wants to become licensed through the state every step of the way. FFN providers are actually licensed exempt providers. So these are individuals in our community who are caring for children. And the rule is from the state is that they can care for less than 4 children. And that's the max. And, as an aside, what we know about this really important group is that they are caring for what's estimated as about 60% of our entire infant and toddler population in our community. So we also support that group. If they want to become licensed, if they don't want to become licensed, we just help to support them by offering basic safety trainings or professional development, and or again, bringing them together to connect with other FFN providers to build community. Because if you if you know about this industry, you know that it's pretty isolating, that it can be a very lonely industry. Crystal, does that answer your questions?
No, absolutely. So you're saying there's license and then there's the FFN. The license a little more, you got to like have a place, it has to meet XYZ.
Yep.
You help them in that process. And then FFN is more a smaller scale, neighbors helping neighbors kind of idea.
You got it.
One other question is, do you folks push forth any like policy initiatives in Longmont or Boulder County to help increase access to childcare? Or do you feel like, yes, you do, but maybe there's not like one focus group? So, because it's been, I think this question comes from, I asked myself at one point, who's pushing forward the childcare initiatives? And I've heard your organization along with other organizations, but it sounds like you guys are doing a lot. So I'm just wondering how that collaboration and that initiative looks.
Yeah, so I can tell you that over the span of our organizational history, we've delved into policy recommendations across the board. Like sometimes it's just like we're supporting, we would recommend policy makers like this policy or pass it, right? We at this particular moment are taking a much more active role. And what I mean by that is we're actively exploring what a public funding mechanism could look like in Boulder County. We are looking at it from a county perspective. And in doing so, we're partnering with our state partners to see what they're looking at too. We're doing that because we believe at this juncture, childcare is in a crisis. And I kind of like hesitate to say that because I think you do hear it a lot. And I don't mean to be like dramatic about it, but what I mean to say is that we are. Families are paying around $20,000 per year per child for full-time care. Childcare providers are making $36,000 on an annual basis to live in Boulder County. And we have licensed childcare slots for only 18% of the entire 0 to 1.5 population. And we have only licensed childcare slots for 43% of the entire toddler population. So like this is a problem. Again, I also like feel this deeply as a mom with 2 kids under 5, that this is just somewhat of a devastating problem that challenges my ability as well as other parents' ability to earn money for our family to increase economic mobility and family stability, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm rambling because I'm very passionate about this particular body of work that we're doing. But to answer your question more succinctly, we are actively looking at building a coalition around pursuing potentially public funding. That's what we're working on now.
Can you repeat the last statistic? You said 43%.
43, we only have child care slots in Boulder County for 43% of the children between the ages of 1.5 and 3 years old.
Repeat that one more time. For some reason, it just keeps coming over. It's like,
No,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, for all the children in our community between the ages of 1.5 and 3 years old, oftentimes considered toddlers, we only have licensed childcare slots for 43% of them.
Okay, so about half are lacking in that age group.
That's right.
Less than half. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Or more than half. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I would say, 43% of license, but then we also have FFN, right? So that'd be another percentage that's being served that way.
Yes, we believe the majority, or maybe the remainder, go as far as to say is being served by FFNs. The challenge that we have in gathering that data is that because FFNs are not licensed through the state, we don't have a really clear and concise way to figure out how many children are in fact being served by FFNs. What type of care is that? What type of setting is it in? So in another funding proposal for a different day, we're actively pursuing funding to support so that we could potentially get to the bottom of those questions.
So I have a quick question. I want to get to the programs, but I do have a quick question because of what you said. Yeah, okay, we'll get to the programs in a second, real quick. So you talked about you support FFN. We just heard from Colorado Statewide Parent Coalition. Is there any collaboration going on there? Do you all talk to each other, work with each other?
You bet. We were we were so fortunate to be a recipient of one of their big grants that they rolled out this year for FFN support. And we were awarded, and we've been partnering with them and actually the city of Longmont. Jenny Diaz and her team has been working with us on one of the first ever FFN cohorts in Boulder County, in which we've served over 50 FFN providers thus far.
Awesome. Great. All right, let's get to the programs because
Okay.
we are burning through your time quickly.
Okay.
Getting on these other subjects.
All right, I'm going to give you a high-level overview of two of the programs that we apply for. The first one is quality coaching, so early childhood quality coaching. So we believe that this is incredibly important because, as I mentioned before, the workforce in childcare is at a really difficult spot. They don't earn a ton of money. We have chronic turnover and absenteeism. We believe that in absence of thriving wages, which is not something that our organization can provide, but what we can provide is really robust quality support and coaching. So what that is we have early childhood experts on our team that we deploy out into programs to help support and meet the needs of where they are today and what they want to do to improve. This can be licensed or FFNs. This means that they're coming into the program, they're meeting with the teacher or the director on a regular basis, and they're creating a strengths-based quality improvement plan that says like maybe you want to rank higher on Colorado Shines. Maybe you want to just improve the overall curriculum that you have. The coaches that we employ will go in and work directly with those programs and those providers to offer them feedback, techniques, and tools and resources to help them meet their goals. So at a high level, that's the first program. That's the early childhood quality coaching. The second program is a new one that we were excited to apply to you all with, which is essentially it's a scholarship program. As you might know, CCAP in our county has been frozen for over a year and a half. We have 700 families across the county that are sitting on a wait list that qualify for this critical childcare subsidy, but cannot access it because of the freeze. We about a year ago did some philanthropic just fundraising, and we raised I think it was around $68,000 and distributed that money to families for scholarships. So those that qualify for CCAP could get into a program and or could get their tuition lowered, and it wouldn't hurt the child care provider. Because right now, to be clear, the child care providers that accept CCAP are in this really tough spot because they know that they're serving families that can't afford what it actually costs them to provide the care, and the subsidy that they normally could work with is gone. And so childcare providers are in this really hard spot of potentially thinking about, do I have to turn this kid away? How can I continue to serve this child? So we want to come in and deploy scholarships so they don't have to make that hard choice, and help support their program in having that cash that CCAP would have provided. So that's high level. Let me stop talking and see what questions there are.
Awesome. Are there any questions from the board? Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, thank you for the amazing work you have done and continue to do for kids. I wonder if you could share how, so if you, how many families, like what size is the average scholarship?
So the way that we did it the first time is we really did it based on needs. What we found is when we opened it up, and the way that the way that worked is we said to child care providers, you know your families, you know what they're going through, you nominate the kids. And then we will give the money directly to you. You tell us how much it costs, we'll give it to you. So we got applications of all sorts. Some that said they just need a couple days a week. Some that said they need full-time care, as much as you can possibly give us. And so because we had limited funds and similar to you guys, right? We only have this much money and we have X amount of applications. The need always outweighs what we have. We worked with childcare providers to say, like, if we gave you this amount, would it help enough, right? And so we did not take our total pot amount of money and divide it equally. We did it on a case by case and needs by needs basis.
Okay.
So yeah, talk to me. So are you, sorry, Crystal, are you, so this money would supplement the work that you already started, right? So you would have a bigger, if you receive this money, you would have a bigger pot to provide more scholarship, more slots for families in Longmont. Is that what this trying to do?
That's it. What we would do is, yeah, if this was awarded, we would earmark this City of Longmont, right? And then as those applications came in, we would say, okay, this meets the criteria of City of Longmont. We're gonna pay this childcare provider with this scholarship from the city.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to get the clarification. Thank you. Crystal, sorry, go ahead.
You're speaking my love language. So it does go to City of Longmont residents. And then also thinking about some of the FFNs, or I forgot the acronym again.
Yep, you're right.
And it could be like so a lot of the times, like if it's not like an established licensed care center, sometimes they're not as reliable, right? Because anything can happen. And so is this money, and it's okay if it's not, I think you have my 10 stars already. But is this money eligible to some of the FFNs as well to help them stabilize and continue providing care for children?
So in our first round, and our first and only round, we did not distribute to FFNs for only one reason. We wanted to prioritize children and providers that qualify for CCAP. And in order to qualify for CCAP, you have to be a licensed childcare provider. And the parents have had to submit a significant amount of documentation as well as the childcare provider. So we wanted to honor the hoops that those folks have already gone through and basically let that be the vetting process. And then we stepped back and just said, you've already done the vetting through the through the CCAP process. We trust that. Here you go. So that's why we didn't include FFNs.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I think that makes sense. And,
Yep.
and so all of the folks that in your first round were folks that had been qualified, verified low income for CCAP.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, that
So
makes
none
sense.
of the scholarship recipients are on CCAP, right? So you're not paying parent fees.
We're not paying parents. We are paying childcare providers that say, I've got a kid in my program that qualify for CCAP. Parents really struggling. We could use $5,000 to make sure that they, can continue to stay at this reduced rate. That's how we did that.
Okay, sorry, I should have clarified my question. So if you're not paying parent fees for families already on CCAP, right? This is for families who are waiting for CCAP. Beautiful.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much. I heard everything that I've had to hear tonight.
All right. Any more questions on either program? Right. So because you guys are considering, I'm evaluating these two. I'm considering as well two programs. One is the coaching for folks, and one is the scholarship slots for parents that are eligible for CCAP, but because of the freeze cannot access CCAP. Just want to make sure that we've got our answers questions about both programs. All right. So real quick, with the funding, depending on the funding, how many folks would you be able to train with this coaching? What's kind of the proposed amount of folks? I mean, I can look it up on the application, but since I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I believe what we had put in our application was 20. And we were lucky enough to be a recipient of the City of Longmont for this last year as well. And I will tell you what was so lovely about it was the ability to serve FFNs and a Spanish speaking population that oftentimes does not get the resources from the state, either because there is language barriers. So I should have mentioned this, but we do employ bilingual quality coaches who are certified as quality coaches. And so this is a way that we connect with our family, and sometimes with our community and our providers, and sometimes the way that is difficult for them to connect with the state. And so I just want to mention that because that was really impactful. What we've seen over this last year is our ability to connect with our Spanish speaking providers as well as our FFN providers in a deeper and more meaningful way than we have in the past.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead.
Do you partner with the chamber at all to help kind of stabilize some of the small businesses or potential small businesses that could be popping up?
I'm trying to get them to participate in our in more of the advocacy work that we're doing. So we do partner with them. We are members, all of that great stuff. And we're trying to pull them in probably more on an advocacy level.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions for Casey? All right. Well, thank you, Casey, for all the work you do. Appreciate your time, and hopefully the baby gets some rest and you get some rest as well. And have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, you as well. She's kind of sleeping, so maybe let's keep talking because this is working. Just kidding. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
All right. Have a good night. All right. So again, we are doing great on time, but Matt is already here. So I'm going to go
Ready?
ahead and, yeah, from TLC, Matt's already here. So I'm going to go ahead and let him in. And we're doing great on time. Let's just keep going. And we get done a little early tonight. That'd be great. All right. Oh, what was that? That's weird. Matt, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh,
There
there
it
you
is.
are. This crazy thing came on. I was like, is that Matt? Hey, Matt, are you waiting for anybody, or can you start early?
I'm good to go.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Matt, I'm going to introduce the board real quick and our staff, and then we're going to turn it over to hear about what you're applying for, what you're doing in Longmont, and we'll ask questions if we got them. All right, so let me just quickly introduce our board. We have our board chair here tonight with us, Crystal Pietro. Board members Katie and Robert are here. As staff, we got myself and Amy, and of course our Director of Human Services, Christina Pacheco, is sitting in. With that, Matt, go ahead. Tell us what you're applying for, what you're doing in Longmont, and like I said, we have questions, we'll stop you.
Sure. Well, thank you for letting me be here tonight, and thank you for your work on this committee. It's I think noble work, and right now it's even more important than ever, as you've heard from a few nonprofits already tonight about the need for funding for nonprofits to do the human services work that we all do in Longmont and in Boulder County it's really difficult. So I really applaud what you're doing. Thank you for your work. My name's Matt Eldred. I'm the CEO of TLC Learning Center. We are a 69-year-old nonprofit. We will be 70 years old next year in Longmont, and we're looking forward to a big celebration next summer. You may also know, although this is not what we're applying for here, but we are undergoing a $17 million capital campaign where we're building the TLC Early Learning Collaborative at 3rd and Ken Pratt in the Mill Village subdivision, southeast part of Longmont. We chose this location for two reasons. One, TLC Learning Center, you may know we're located at 611 Cordy Parkway, kind of behind the flower bin there on that part of town. The new building, if you've been around a long time, Longmont, is now 20 years old. We moved into that building in 2005. We are maxed to capacity. We have 9 classrooms serving children 6 weeks to 6 years old in childcare. Then we have occupational, physical, and speech therapists on staff that see children with those needs in those classrooms. We also see children through a variety of other programs. You may know the term or early intervention or EI. That program serves children 0 to 3. And that has to be done in their homes. So we see children in their homes through a home health care license. We also can see children up until their 13th birthday. So there's a lot of overlap between our child care and our therapy services, but they're also two separate parts of our program. And so a lot of what we're talking about in our application has to do with the operating of those two programs. But we're looking to move to the new location. Right now, we're anticipated to be done in January of 2026. So we are ahead of schedule, which is unheard of. And I attribute most of that to the partnership with the city of Longmont and Boulder County. Not only have they invested heavily in this project financially, but they also have helped us through a public-private partnership waive a lot of the fees and fees and permitting fees for this project, which is a huge savings. And so we're ahead of schedule and hope to be done at the end of January. I believe you probably have already heard from the Colorado Statewide Parent Coalition, I Have a Dream, the Early Childhood Council. These are all great programs in Longmont, and I hope that a lot of what they're doing will happen out of this building. We are calling this the Early Learning Collaborative because we really want it to be a community collaborative place where anybody who touches anything early childhood can access this space, have training out of it. As Lorena probably shared, our Friends and Family Neighbor Network, FFN, serves more children in Longmont than any of our licensed programs, and yet they have access to the least amount of resources. And so we're hoping at TLC, we already have a partnership with them where we provide their first aid CPR classes in their native language at our location on a weekend. And then they also get to experience what a classroom might look like. Not that they can do that in their home, but maybe they can set up their kitchen with a reading corner or a science area in their living room. And so whatever we can do as a high quality early learning program to also elevate that in our community, we want to be partners in that. And so we're really excited that the TLC Early Learning Collaborative will be done at the end of January. We hope to have a lot of nonprofit partners either moving in with us or providing their services out of our building, including the city of Longmont through the Bright Eyes and other early childhood programs. This will be a community space where trainings, community engagement sessions. You guys can even have your next board meeting there next year. You can meet in our facility and evaluate all the great programs in Longmont. So we're excited about that. I also, since Christina's on here, think I can mention that a part of what we're also doing is really trying to engage our small, medium, and large employers. And the city of Longmont is going to model this, where the city of Longmont is going to pay a portion of childcare for city of Longmont employees, because we know that childcare, as Casey probably just told you through the Early Childhood Council, is one of the most expensive expenses that people have. And we know that sometimes that creates real challenges, especially for women in our workforce, for people in poverty. Childcare is not only not affordable, but it's not accessible. And so we're going to be expanding our services. We're doubling our infant program and doubling the toddler program, which is really where the need is. That 0 to 3 is where the real need is for childcare. And obviously for children with additional needs, those therapy services are really critical as well. But the city of Longmont is going to help us with a fund that will fund a percentage of childcare for City of Longmont employees to bring their children to TLC. And it will be a recruitment and a retention tool for the city to hire and retain quality employees at all levels. And I think this is a model that if the City of Longmont can do this with a nonprofit, other employers through our Longmont Chamber Economic Development Partnership will see the benefits of investing in early childhood, not only for their employees, but the economic impact that that has in our community, especially for women in the workforce and people of vulnerable populations. So we're really excited to be piloting that in August or June or whenever we move in next year with the city of Longmont, and excited to unveil that and then evaluate it to see if that can be replicated through more employers throughout Longmont. So that's kind of what I had to bring to you today. We obviously are applying for our general operating, but most of what the Human Services funds is it funds our scholarship program for children to access our services. As you all know, CCAP, the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, is on a freeze. It's been on a freeze since March of 2024. We're going on a year and a half now where no new children are being added that are eligible because of from federal to state cuts and regulations. And so at TLC Learning Center, we've been able to pivot and continue to enroll those families that are eligible and they qualify, but they're not getting those services. And we've been able to do that through our own scholarship programs, through our fundraising events, writing grants. Also, the city of Longmont just invested another chunk of money for us to administer to make sure that those CCAP eligible families get into programs and aren't just on a wait list. And there are over 700 children that are on that wait list. So that's what we're doing. I would love to answer any questions if you have about specifically our application or the capital project or anything else about TLC Learning Center and the application that we submitted.
Crystal?
Thank you for sharing all that information. So excited. You really exemplify like what it means to go above and beyond what your basic duty is. So I'm really excited that you folks are thinking forward, you're thinking into the future and thinking about how can we work with each other to solve this crisis here in Longmont. Kudos to Longmont as well. I think a lot of the work that Longmont does doesn't get noticed as much. And so I'm really happy to hear of all these partnerships and support that Longmont's providing. One of my questions would be, with the new center that you folks are going to move to, when are you going to increase the amount of classrooms that you have in that move?
Yes. So in the first phase, we're going to go from 9 classrooms to 12 classrooms. And where those additional classrooms will be, like I mentioned earlier, will be in the infants and toddlers. So we're expanding in 0 to 3, and that'll be the major expansion. Right now, we're planning to have in the first phase about 150 children to be able to be enrolled in the new center. And then also on our therapy side, we see about 250 kids a year, and we'll be able to see about 100 more kids in our therapy program. Now, some of those numbers are duplicate because some of those therapy kids are also in the child care center. So they're not independent, separate numbers. Some of those are combined, but we'll be able to increase both our therapy services and our child care services, specifically in the 0 to 3 space. And over 50% of those slots will be for low-income families that either qualify for CCAP and are on the TLC scholarship program, or some of these employer-based childcare slots through the city of Longmont.
Beautiful. One more question. It's kind of related, unrelated, but having the human services kind of board brain here, what are you planning to do with the other building? Are you just going to sell that and put that into the equity? Is the city of Longmont working with you guys maybe to obtain that property, or?
It is on the market right now. No, the city of Longmont hasn't given us a contract, but we're open to that. I haven't even talked to anybody about that, but we do have multiple buyers. Selfishly, yeah, Alberto, why don't you just make that happen? The $3 million building. I'll look for your offer tomorrow. Thanks, Crystal. That's a great suggestion. But my hope is that it can continue to be childcare, whether that's for-profit or nonprofit. We have a couple of people that are looking at the building because we know that the need for childcare is great, and especially in that 0 to 3. This is a turnkey childcare center that has 9 classrooms, a new roof in 2020, and a new playground in 2021. But again, putting my CEO hat on, I want to make sure that we can get the best bang for our buck to invest that in the new project. And so if that's another developer, there are 2 other businesses that are our neighbors that are not childcare. They are interested, as well as some other developers. And so, selfishly, I would like for it to be childcare, and I would like for it to be childcare that focuses on our most vulnerable. But I also want to make sure that for TLC Learning Center, we get our best bang for our buck so that we can put that money into the new project. So how's that for answering with a non-answer?
No, it's helpful because as we're a part of these conversations around bringing up solutions and finding space for certain things, it would just make sense. But just a plug in there for you, Cristina and Alberto, just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's above our pay grade.
Yeah. I see Katie.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for your amazing work. I previously was in the education field, so I know, you guys do amazing work. I have a question about your capacity with regard to the services for 0 to 3. Are you going to be, as a result of your new facility, you mentioned right now you're going out into homes for therapies. Will you be able to bring kids to you, or will you still have to go out to homes?
Well, both. We will increase the number of therapy rooms that we have, so we will be able to see more children in therapy. But some of the programs, if you're in education, there are no public dollars that don't come without strings attached. Some of that is in early intervention. Those services have to be provided in the home. So we will be doing more of that, but we will also be doing more, we call it center-based therapy, where somebody comes to the center for therapy. And obviously we'll be expanding classrooms, which means we'll be able to expand more classroom therapy. So all of those therapy areas will be expanded with the new space.
Great, thank you.
And so I just want to clarify, because I just went back and looked at your application. What you're actually asking for, there is some general operating, but the vast majority of it is for direct salaries for teachers, and which is fine. That's a good ask for this funding. So
again, thank you for that, Alberto, because the salaries, it means that we're going to be increasing the number of staff that we have when we increase classrooms. And again, as probably Casey mentioned earlier, quality workforce is one of the major challenges. There's over a 30% turnover annually in the childcare field in general. And we know that building relationships is critical for children, especially birth to 5. And so having consistent quality staff is critical. And so we intentionally asked for the salaries of staff being the ask for these funds, but it's directly tied to so that we can have quality staff working with children. So Thanks for that, Alberto.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions for Matt?
And you only serve Longmont families, is that correct?
No, we actually, our CCAP contract, we have contract with Boulder County and the 4 surrounding counties. So we actually serve 5 counties with CCAP. We're a part of the Universal Preschool Program, which is a statewide program. And then obviously most families either choose childcare because it's close to home or work. So we do have quite a few folks that come in from the Frederick, Firestone, Dacono area to Boulder that work, or people that live here that commute to the metro area. So we about 75% of our families though live in Longmont and Boulder County. So just to give you some numbers, but our services, in fact, our home services, we can actually go into the counties of Boulder, Weld, and Larimer for those home therapy programs. So we're located in Longmont, but we serve about a 45-mile radius of Longmont. Families come to us or we go to them.
Wow. And do you know offhand what the direct percentages of Longmont families is?
About 75% of
Okay.
our total childcare is City of Longmont. It's our primary.
It makes sense. People live here, they need care here. But
Right.
it also makes sense with like the St. Vrain Valley School District area that extends into like Firestone. A lot of that, like there's not much resources there. And so they're really leaning heavy on Longmont, which is okay. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The childcare desert is really critical in the eastern part of Longmont and Boulder County. And so if you know where we're located, we're about half a mile from County Line Road. We are about as far east Boulder County as you can get. And we intentionally chose that because of the area of the greatest need, with more of the affordable housing that is coming in. We know that families are going to need to access childcare. There are 27 Habitat homes that are being built right across the street from this new location. So we're really excited about being able to serve not only the community of Longmont, but also the community that needs it most.
Thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you for your time. I want to invite you all to the building. If you're not Third and Ken Pratt, look to the south. It's the big building there, and we'll have some big grand openings in the summer of 2026, and want to invite you all to be there. So thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you, Matt, for all you do. Appreciate it. And have a great rest of your night. Folks, we are waiting on, I'm sure they'll join here in a second, but our next group is the Wild Plum. So thank you, Matt.
All right. Have a good night. Again, thank you all for your work on this committee. We'll see you.
Take care.
All right. We are doing really great on time. I'm sure that Wild Plum will join up. Elizabeth is here. I think we're just waiting for Sean. I'm sure he'll join here in a second.
Should I let her in?
Let's give Sean a minute, see if he, and then if not, we can let her in a second.
I have a question, Aliberto.
Yeah.
So he mentioned, or someone mentioned, I can't remember who. We've been talking so much childcare, and it's very inspiring to see all of the work that the City of Longmont's doing. So kudos to you and the whole Health and Human Services team. That's because you don't see all the back end work. They mentioned something about the City of Longmont creating a program to supplement some of the childcare costs for city staff.
Yeah, I would defer to Christina and Hilda about that.
Yeah, it was a state of Colorado grant that we got that we pretty much I think it was a matching grant.
Okay.
And so we helped pay some construction costs, and I'm in the process now of working on prioritizing kind of what those slots will look like. So we got some data from several team meetings and employee surveys about how we want to prioritize that. Do we want it to be income based? Do we want it to be single parents? So that we can figure out how to best serve or spend the money on, I think it's like 38 slots. So I'm in the process of and we know that childcare for infants is more expensive, and so if they're all if it's all infants, then that fund, it may not serve the whole 38, or if they're all 3 and 4 year olds, we could serve more. And so we're in the process of kind of figuring out what that looks like, how we're going to break that down, and we're kind of working on a contract and kind of a marketing plan for employees so that we can get those slots filled as soon as we can in the fall. And I think he said
Okay.
the building's going to be done in January, and then we would start enrolling the fall of next year.
So, and I asked that because the last time I heard some data around City of Longmont residents, also staffed through the city, was like 80% of the Longmont city staff were not residents of Longmont. And so I'm just wondering, like as far as priority, I think it's two beautiful things. I think one, like Longmont's leading as a staff, like an organization, a business to help provide and solve that issue for its workers, but then also like thinking about like how do we make sure that a majority of the funding and monies that we're getting in the city is actually going to Longmont residents.
Yeah.
And so looking at that priority as well, I was just curious. So thank you
Well,
for explaining that.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 60%. I think 40% of our employee population actually lives in Longmont and 60 doesn't. So it's a little less than 80. And what this grant was for was employee recruitment and retention. And so the thought is, as individuals apply for this and get some subsidy, we might be able to impact that a little. Maybe there's more people in the future that live in Longmont that, because of this subsidy, can afford to live here. I think it impacts it on different levels. If you can spend less money on childcare, then you can spend more money elsewhere, right?
All right, so I'm not sure if all those folks in the waiting room are for Wild Plum. It's another big group.
All of them. I don't know who Christy is though. So Angela, Elizabeth, and Sean should be Wild Plum, but I don't know who Christy.
All right, let's let
Yeah,
Angela,
they all are.
Elizabeth, and Sean,
They
and let's
all are.
ask about Christy.
Is well. Yeah.
Oh, she is too?
as well. Yeah, Christy.
Thank you, Christina. All right,
Yep.
yeah. All right,
Got it.
let's let them all in. Wow, this is a big group. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're running a little early, which is not our typical. We're usually running a little late, but today we've been doing really good on time. So I'm going to keep that trend going. I'm going to quickly introduce the board, staff, and then Wild Plum team. We're going to turn it over to you for you to share with us what you're applying for, what you're doing here in Longmont. And then if we have questions, we'll stop you. But let me introduce the board real quick. We have our board chair, Crystal Prieto here, board members, Katie and Rob. And then we have me and Amy as staff. And of course, our human services director, Christina, is listening as well. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over all to you to tell us your story, who you are, and yeah, let us get going.
Wonderful. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. We'll do some quick introductions, even though we don't know all each other. But I'm Sean Lee. I'm the development director at Wild Plum. We have with us Angela Jensen. You want to go around, Angela?
Hi, I'm Angela. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Children's Services.
And I'm Christy. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Family Services.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Lenski. I'm the CEO of the Wild Plum Center.
Well, we want to start off by thanking you for your time and in consideration of our application. I know that you guys have a lot to go through and a lot to consider, and we're thankful that you guys are considering Wild Plum. I did send a PowerPoint presentation earlier, which just kind of went over some high-level stuff, but we We'll just kind of go off the cuff right now, but we're excited to be here and talk to you about our kindergarten readiness program. So Wild Plum has for 60 years been providing high quality childhood education for our young folks that are under the age of 5. And we're really excited about being able to continue our work and share with you some of the things that we do. So sorry. Just getting over a little something. But yeah, so we at Wild Plum, let's talk about inclusivity. I know that was a big part of the application, and we really enjoy that diversity, equity, inclusion are all alive and well with us, and that these are things that remain very important tenets of how Wild Plum works. We operate under the tenet of nothing for us without us. And so we don't just go out there trying to run the world or solve all of the problems without the help from our policy council or without the help from the community or our staff or our families that help drive our policies. So at the basis of all of this is our policy council. Our policy council is made up of current, former Wild Plum parents. They are involved in every decision at Wild Plum, from hiring staff. They meet monthly with our finance director to make sure that finances are well explained to them. They determine who is eligible for our services or who gets on the wait list for our services. It's very well informed. And helps inform everything that we do here at Wild Plum. Our Wild Plum Policy Council is 75% bilingual and bicultural, and represents about what we see with our parents and the families that we serve. That extension of inclusivity and doing things with our partners and the people in our community extends to our staff. Also, 75% of our staff is bilingual or bicultural. This is very important. This allows us to be able to provide affirming care, culturally affirming care and services in our classrooms, allows us to provide that very valuable bilingual education for our students, and really just affirms the culture and values from home, also at school. Our staff is also 20% current or former Wild Plum parents. People love Wild Plum and they want to, after their child is done with services at Wild Plum or moves on to kindergarten, they want to stay involved with Wild Plum. And so it's very frequent that we have people come in, our staff members with us or join our policy council. These are all very important things that help direct all of the things that we do at Wild Plum. Again, nothing for us without us. We hold that very seriously, and we want to make sure that that resonates throughout our entire organization. We're going to talk a little bit about the need for the services that Wild Plum has. What our goal is to increase access to high quality education for underserved families who would not be able to access those services otherwise. So, as you know, childcare services, access to early childhood education services are very scarce. It's a big need in our community, and Wild Plum fills that need. That scarcity for childcare services and early education services, because it's so scarce, those resources often become very expensive. When there's a high demand but low supply, we see that reflected in the fact that childcare is the biggest expense after a person's rent or mortgage now. That didn't used to always be the case, but now it's that case. And as Wild Plum only serves families that are serving poverty, as Wild Plum only serves families who are in poverty, they would not have access to this high quality education services otherwise. Wild Plum is filling that need, allowing us to be able to provide those services. Thanks, Crystal, for that. But yeah, and we provide it absolutely free of charge to our parents. This is an invaluable thing that allows our parents not only to receive the skills that they need to increase their self-sufficiency, but allows them to work, allows their kids to be ready so that by the time they reach kindergarten, they are ready and able to thrive and in school and beyond. in Boulder County, we often think of it as kind of an affluent county, but 1 in 8 Boulder County residents live in poverty. Hispanic residents are 16% more likely to be in poverty than other populations. And just 44% of Boulder County children have access to pre-K. So there's a giant need for that. Wild Plum is doing what we can to make sure that those resources are going to our most vulnerable people, specifically individuals in poverty who would not be able to access those resources otherwise. Their children would fall behind if we weren't providing them this education. And we just absolutely love what we do here. So, excuse me. So we'll talk a little bit about why it works. We know that, or excuse me, I'm so sorry. We will talk about how we know it works. I'm so sorry. We at Wild Plum want to make sure that we prepare our children for a lifetime of learning. The Brookings Institute, with 60 years of early childhood education data and Head Start data, is able to show that children who go through Head Start programs like Wild Plum have higher lifetime earning potentials. They are less likely to be dependent on welfare. They have lower healthcare costs. Pretty much any social determinant of health or any other type of like negative outcome related to poverty is reduced by having their children in Head Start programs. It's about a $1 to $7 return on, or for every dollar that you spend in or invest in a Head Start program, you can expect as a community to recoup about $7 of investment and save costs for our families and for our community. And also how we know it works is we are constantly evaluating our programs. We're not just assessing our children to make sure that they're reaching those milestones. We're assessing whether or not our parents are increasing their own self-sufficiency and their community connection. We're making sure that all of our children are reaching their milestones by the time they reach kindergarten. Wild Plum is very proud to say that over 90% of our students that we see will have met all of their developmental milestones prior to entering kindergarten, which is a huge benefit. Usually, or data has shown that children growing up in poverty, only about 50% are truly ready for kindergarten. Children that are coming through Wild Plum services, 90% are all at those milestones ready to go and ready to thrive in kindergarten. So that was me talking quite a lot, but I do want to throw it over to Christy, who's kind of our guru. It talks really well about the actual services that Wild Plum provides. I'm doing a little bit of the data and kind of the high level stuff, but Christy is our person who's making sure that everything at Wild Plum is working smoothly, not just for our staff, but for our families and our students. So Christy, would you mind talking a little bit about just the different programs that Wild Plum offers?
Sure. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, the family service piece, the two-generation approach is something that does set Head Start, Wild Plum apart from any other program. I truly believe it is the answer, because we can give a child a fantastic day, a fantastic the needs of the family and the that's what makes a true difference.
You're a little quiet, but we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes that
better.
happens on my computer.
Can we just have everybody else mute though when she talks? Because I'm hearing like something else too.
So what we work on is just a strong family partnership with all of our families. It's guided by the families. We meet families where they are with no judgment, and we're just there for support. So a lot of times conversations start out just, tell me what's going on, what's going well. Are there any goals that you have? And we talk a lot about goals, often name them dreams. Are there any dreams you have that I might be able to support you on? So for example, a family may be looking at moving to another apartment or into a house, and just the steps that go along with that. What can I help you along the way? What do you want to do? Let's put this down on a list. I'll check in with you. We can go together to housing. So there's support going places together to get the help. There's warm handoffs. There's teaching within our organization around financial literacy, around parenting classes, those kinds of things. So we really just have a huge array of opportunities for families, and we have what we call a parent menu where they can look through and say, yeah, I'm interested in this and this and this, or something that's not even on the menu, and we will look into that together with the family and support their goals and dreams.
Thank you, Christy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we got about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure if board has any questions, we can answer them. So yeah, board, do you have any questions? They gave us a really nice overview of what they do.
I do, but if anybody else has any, please. I don't want to be like hogging the space here. No? Okay, fine. I'll do it. All right. So first I'm going to toot your horn for a minute. I absolutely love Wild Plum. Both my children attended Wild Plum 0 to 5. So the work, I know firsthand, the work that you guys do is so impactful and really transforms and changes families' lives. Another tooting of your horn. I was a part of the Parent Policy Council, and it was actually one of the first boards that I've ever served on. And it's funny because now I'm running for city council, but I think that preparation of leadership so early on when I was like a teen parent is amazing. So just so that you guys know, like I only mentioned the council piece is to say like the work that you guys do across the board is tremendous. To my question. With the loss of CCAP funding, I know that you have CCAP classrooms. And so when you lost that funding, it impacted the amount of children or the amount of classrooms you had available. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you navigated that challenge and opened up those classrooms, or were they never opened up, or just give me kind of a brief explanation on that?
Elizabeth, do you think you can get that one?
So with the CCAP classrooms, we still running the 2 classrooms. In one classroom, we have 4 toddlers, and another classroom we have 1 infant. We are definitely keep doing running through Facebook and different social media, trying to recruit more families. But of course, there's no families with CCAP at this point. So what we are exploring is a pilot program for private pay for families in Longmont. So we are exploring that, and hopefully we will be able to fill up those classrooms again. And we are very excited about it.
So I have a quick question, just because I mean, the government may shut down in a couple of hours. Concerns about your federal funding, what is that looking like?
At this point, definitely it's going to shut down. We have been told, and we will be able to access the funds, but that is just looking at past experiences. But this is a new administration, so we don't know how it's going to go. So we will know more as the shutdown progress. So at this point, it looks like it will have funds available, but to be determined, pretty much. Everybody's very afraid and very concerned, and hopefully there's going to be a solution. And definitely we are being affected because we are receiving flat funding. There's not increase for us, and we feel like pretty much our funds are shrinking, and there is definitely going to will be affected with a deficit due to CCAP funds, lack of CCAP funds.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Any final questions because we're almost at time, Wild Plum? If not, thank you, Wild Plum team, for your time. Appreciate it, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night too.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we appreciate it a lot. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we have our last. There's only one person. We'll ask Brittany if there is more. And yeah, I think we're going to get done early tonight because they're going to be talking about 3 programs. So we'll try and get to the programs as quickly as possible. But I believe we'll be done earlier tonight than the time we thought we were going to be done. So let's let Brittany in and let's ask her if there's anybody else coming from YMCA. Amy, in a second. Brittany, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
A quick question. Are you the only one coming from YMCA tonight, or were you expecting others?
No, I will be the only one coming from YMCA tonight. Unfortunately, Motria is no longer with us. I wish he was.
Oh, yeah, I got that email. I thought, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll just be me tonight. But I feel pretty prepared, and Motria prepared me with everything she had. So
you got all you're good answering questions in all 3 programs.
yes, I will be.
Perfect. Awesome. Just wanted to check because usually you guys have a big team as well
We do.
that joins us.
Yeah. No,
But that's fine.
They put it all on me today, and I said,
All
"I'm
right.
ready for
No,
the challenge. Let's go."
let's get going. So I'm just gonna introduce the board real quick, and then staff, and then we're just gonna turn it over to you. Love to hear about your 3 programs and what you're applying for, and then we'll get done early tonight. All right. So the board that are present here tonight are our board chair, Crystal Prieto, Robert, and Katie are here, as well as board members, staff. It's me and Amy there with Robert, and of course our human services director, Christina Pacheco, is listening in. All right, Brittany, tell us about what programs you're applying, what you're doing in Longmont.
Yeah, so to introduce myself, I'm Brittany Vella. I'm the executive director of school age programs and summer day camps. I have been getting my toes wet in a little bit of preschool as well, with the absence of our executive director. So I'm learning a lot about those programs, and it's essentially the same, just younger kiddos. So for our Longmont preschool program, we applied for the education grant for $50,000. In Longmont, our summer day camp, we applied for the economic stability for $30,000, and for school age in Longmont, which is our before and after school care, we did economic stability for $33,000 as well. Would you like me?
Yeah, just like we just lumped you in the education. So just so you know, we just lumped you into education because, yeah, we just did. So that's where we traditionally have put you, is in education for all those 3 programs. Even though I can see that they meet both. They serve as there. You can't get economic stability without childcare, right? But you can't get education without childcare either. So they do both. But we put you in education.
Okay.
So talk to us about these programs. Tell us how many you're serving in Longmont. What kind of outcomes are you seeing? Talk to us a little bit about that for all the 3 programs.
Yeah, so for our preschool program, currently we are serving around 54 children. Those children are aged 2 to 6 years old. We just started taking 2-year-olds, which is fantastic. We did 2.5 prior, but now we take 2-year-olds. We're trying to get down to 18-month-olds, so toddlers, but we'll see if we're able to do that. We're going through all the licensing goodness. So we are doing really, really well. Now, about 90% of that program is on financial assistance, or CCAP. We do our own YMCA financial assistance, and that preschool is very special. We have partnerships with our Growing Gardens, which is right there at the Longmont YMCA, where our kids get to learn how to grow vegetables, and they also get to supply their families with those vegetables. Longmont, where it's located, is a food desert. So families do not have access to fresh produce, and so we allow them the access to fresh produce. They are implementing curriculum, social emotional learning curriculum, as well as their preschool curriculum. It's fantastic. They are also doing kindergarten readiness. It is TS Gold measurements. They also have partnered with a local farm to get the kids out and about on field trips. That's something we are implementing in our preschool programs now, our field trips. So they get to go out to the field trips and go see the farm animals and care for the farm animals and learn everything about farm animals, which is so awesome. Our preschool kiddos love it, as well as the parents too. We do partner with the local food bank as well, and they do come off and drop off bags of goods and food for the families in that area and the kiddos in those areas, in case they're struggling with food insecurity. So that's a little bit about our preschool program. Our retention is fantastic with the students and the staff there as well. We have great teachers, amazing students that follow through all the way up to kindergarten. So it's great.
I just got to throw a little story in. When I did the site visits for this year for Boulder County Farmers Market, part of the site visit, I met them at their loading dock, and then we drove over to the YMCA. And as they were doing a lesson on food, that was the cutest thing, seeing the kids talk about, do you like grapes or celery better? Vast majority said grapes, but a few of them said celery. I just thought that was real cute.
Yes, it's awesome. A lot of these kids don't see vegetables often, and so just teaching them about having a healthy mind, spirit, and body. We also have safety around water. And so a lot of these preschoolers qualify to get free swim lessons during preschool. So their parents don't have to take them after. It is during preschool. We get them changed and they go have swim lessons and then come back, which is really, really awesome. So a lot of our preschoolers are learning how to swim free of charge, which is just so great. We love it. Yeah. Would you like me to move on to summer day camp and school age? Perfect. Oh, summer day camp and school age. This program is so dear to my heart. I love Longmont so much. We serve the community, and it's one of our highest needs communities. So during our school age programs, we are serving about 85% of families that have their children on CCAP or some sort of financial assistance, which is a pretty high number. We also partner with the Growing Gardens as well, just like preschool. We also do safety around water for our school age as well, so kiddos learn how to swim. They also have access to the pool. We work with the aquatics so that kids can swim once a week, which is great. We do get kids out on field trips as well. For our curriculum, we have a social emotional learning curriculum, and it's called Pop Culture Hero. We do that daily, where kids are learning about their feelings, their emotions. We also have our new cozy corners, which are great. They're filled with posters about how to recognize emotions, and tons of books. We also partner with the food bank for Longmont as well. So our families also have access to those fruits and veggies, as well as bags to take home. Awesome, Crystal. As well as bags to take home to their families too. We have just did a back to school drive for our kids and families as well, where we supply the kids with backpacks, shoes, clothes, any school materials that they need. Families just come in and they pick whatever they want, and it's completely free. So that helps our families a lot. And we do that throughout the school year as well, just for kids that may not have shoes or clothes or winter clothes. We are about to do our winter clothes drive, where kids will have access to boots and gloves and anything they need for the winter.
So Brittany, can you talk to me a little bit about both of these programs? Like, so for example, how does the school age program support kids in their academics after school? How does the summer day camp work on the summer slide? You know, that infamous summer slide. What type of activities are you doing to ensure that those kiddos, don't lose too much on their academic progress during the summer? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, awesome. So during our before and after school program, we do an hour of homework time. And what that means is that the kids will take out their tablets or whatever they do their homework on, and we do have staff that help them actively with their homework to make sure that they are not falling behind. What we see is that a lot of these kids that are that have homework do not end up doing their homework and or do not get help with reading where they are falling behind. The schools in the area are letting us know that kids are very, very behind in reading. And so that is something that we are taking as high priority in our programs. And we make sure that we do reading and school academics with them an hour a day. And that is after school, so that they don't have to go home and their parents do not feel the stress of having to complete that for them. All of our staff are trained to teach kids how to read and to also help fulfill those gaps within mathematics and social emotional learning. So that's really awesome. We do a whole separate training on that. Now, in the summertime, we do essentially the same things, but they're a little more tailored to summer fun. So we don't call it homework time, but we do call it learning time, just as we do vitamin D time for learning outside. But we do learning time during the summer. We have access to tablets ourselves, and we have apps that have reading on them. We also have apps that have mathematics on them too. The kids love it. I think it's just screen time. They think it's like awesome and they're playing games, but it's also educational. And we also have that curriculum that goes through the summer as well for that social emotional learning.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions from the board about the programs?
I think you folks do some busing, correct? I don't know that I heard you talk about your busing, but yeah, just so the other board members know how important that is.
Yeah. So we in Longmont, we bus to 12 school locations, which means that we are doing before school. So the parents will bring their kids to the Longmont Y at around 7 a.m. We provide them with breakfast. And if they need to finish up any homework or reading, they do that there. As well as a short activity as well. And then we do get them on the bus. We drop them off at school. And then after school, it's sort of the same routine. We send our staff out to all of these locations, pick up the children, bring them back to the Longmont YMCA, and do all of our activities for the day where their parents come and grab them at the Y. So, yep, we do transportation every day. And we also do it during vacation breaks, so school day outs. We will transport kids for field trips or to other pools and locations. So we do tons of transportation. We have mini buses, and we're all trained for them.
Yeah, which is super important because a lot of workplaces are like 9 to 5 and the school day is like 8 to 3. And so, it really meets that need for the additional care that people need throughout the day. And especially if they have like a preschooler at YMCA already, they can pick up the elementary kid or whatever and take them back, or however old the age is. But yeah, thank you for all you do. You guys really do some important work.
Thank you. Yeah, and our hours for preschool and school age are 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I really feel like it helps parents work a whole work day and not have to worry about grabbing their kiddos at the end of the day. Yep.
That's awesome. Any other questions for Brittany about the 3 programs we're applying for? All right. If not, Brittany, thank you so much. You did a great job stepping up for everybody else that couldn't make it tonight. Appreciate the work you all do, and have a great night. Board, if you can just stay on for just a minute, that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. We love what we do. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for the work
you guys
you
make
do.
it possible for us. So really, really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you tonight, folks, for being here. Thank you, board, for being here. Like I tell every time, if you have any questions for the agencies, feel free to email me and I will pass that on. Other than that, thank you all for your time. And for those of you that I'm seeing next week at the next hearing, great. If you're not part of the next group, then that's fine. That's good. But yeah, keep working on your applications and your evaluations, and appreciate all that you do.
Thanks,
Amy
everybody.
or Aliberto, will you guys send me the spreadsheet again that I put my scores in?
Yeah, Amy can send it.
I'm like,
before I send a new one, can you search through your email, the one that I originally sent? Because some folks are having trouble opening the zip file, so I just want to make sure that you're able to even open that.
do you know what the title would have been? Because I have a million.
Just search my name. So AIMEE.
Okay.
And then all of your dates should come up. I just
She
want to
only
make
had
sure
one
that
date, so she only had this date, so she should only have one email with everything.
Okay, I have that email, so that's included in there with all
just
of the
go ahead and open the zip file
Yeah,
to
let her
make
know
sure
you can
that
open the zip. I think that's the challenge that people have been having.
I think I was able to when I first got it. Yeah, I was able to open the zip file, so we're good there. Awesome.
Okay.
All right, thank you all. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.